Welcome back to Afternoon Break. Well, before you know it, Valentine's Day will be here. So it's a good idea to start planning a date. That's right. If you're not sure what to do, we've got you covered. We've selected some fun and unique date ideas, and we'll be highlighting a different one every Friday leading up to Valentine's Day.
That's great. And you don't have to go far if you're looking to book a wine weekend getaway. You can find a full-service farm winery just an hour away in Glennville.
That's right. The couple who owns it says it's one of the oldest farms in Georgia. Our very own Michaela Romero shares the story of how it got started and says it's not just about the wine. The land's history plays a role too. Check this out.
Reality is you got to get them cut off. All right? You just got to dig your way in it.
Charles and Deborah Tillman, the owners of Watermelon Creek Vineyard, say making wine is a year-long process.
So we are cutting the vines back. You know, from April they start growing, bud break, and they go wild through the summer and make grapes. And then come fall, after harvest, the leaves start turning yellow. So the wintertime, they're sleeping. That's when we cut, so the new growth can produce more grapes next year.
The two opened their doors to the community in 2012, but the history of the 300-acre site goes back to 1812.
In 2003, I got a phone call from my cousin in Little Rock, Arkansas, who inherited this piece of land. And he says, I'm going to sell our grandmother's home place. Would you like to buy it? So I said, yeah. Okay, so 2 or 3 weeks later, Deborah and I came over and looked and see just what we had bought. And it began a romance, I guess you say, with history.
Charles, the 8th generation to live on the land, says at the time they didn't know what to do with it, but eventually fell in love after learning more about who lived there before them.
A small child named Hopkins Paget and his mother and grandmother had residence here on the south bank of Watermelon Creek.
The property also included a sawmill, grist mill, general store, and post office back in the day. And today, the couple continues the legacy with their destination venue.
By 2007, we got this place cleaned up enough to plant the vineyard. It all started because of a trip to Sonoma Valley.
Charles says that vacation inspired them.
That guy was about 30 years old and he was growing grapes and he had a winery and all that. And I thought to myself and to Deborah, I think we could do this. I think this will work.
That is when his life partner turned into a business partner. The two, who will be celebrating 40 years of marriage in March, say they are living the American dream. Charles says he couldn't have done it without Deborah.
No, this person told me this. He says, you sound like me and my wife, he tells me. I said, what do you mean? He says, well, we've been married for 50 years, and now I've got a half a brain, and she's got a half a brain. Apart, we can do nothing, but together we can get by, and that's pretty much what's happened.
Tillman says the vineyard not only brought him and his wife closer, but also gives them the opportunity to meet people from all over.
You know, literally, in the next hour, a car could pull in here from Montreal, or Jamaica, or Brazil.
The couple hopes everyone can get a chance to experience what they call their enchanted place they call home. In Glennville, Michaela Romero, WTOC.
Such a unique idea, and wine tasting and behind-the-scenes tours of the property are held Wednesday through Saturday. It's
Very cool. Yeah, you wouldn't think it, but Georgia has several wineries, vineyards. Chateau Elan is up close to Atlanta. Little Duck Winery is just a little close to us, but I was not aware of the one in Glennville. That is really cool. Check that out.
It's such a fun idea to be able to get out and have an activity for Valentine's Day. I think so often it's the chocolates or the flowers, but it's truly that experience, especially generational wise. I think when you get older, well, what do we do? What's something fresh and new? So that's such a fun idea. And don't forget to join us next Friday for another fun and unique date night idea. We will be putting these on WTOC.com if you need to have a little reminder of what those will be. Good stuff coming up. Now, parenting is not for the